Outlaw 1312 here. Just wanted to show you guys my homemade gun rig or gun belt, whichever you prefer, and tell you a little bit about how I made it and how you can do it too. So, you know me, I'm all about doing it yourself and saving your money. So it's just a standard piece of thong for your holster secure. Let's get Ursula out of her holster here. Okay, so I made both this holster and the gun belt. As you can tell, there's a slight difference in the color. This belt was already this color, and I tried my best to match it. So, show you a little bit about how this comes together. Get it all apart here. Sorry. Okay. So, excuse my finger. So this, as you can tell, is really not the prettiest piece of leather. It was literally, as you can tell right here, it's not perfectly symmetrical. It really should extend out a little further. I just made do with what I had. So Chicago screw down here to fasten it together, and that is literally fastened together with one Chicago screw. Holds very well. So this part is just pushed in, and you couldn't yank it out, you know, by pulling the gun free if you wanted to. Let's see if I can get it out with one hand. A bit of a trick. Yeah, I'm gonna put this down for just a second. All right, so this is a slip together style holster. Okay, it's just a standard pocket. I bought this leather pre-tooled like this from Hobby Lobby, and then just together leather lace. There's a lot of YouTube videos on how to do it. It's actually really pretty simple. I had to watch the video that I found, and later I'll try to put it in the description and or comments, probably the description. But the only trick was watching how it got started, because when they start looping, it can get a little tricky to see exactly what they're doing. But I watched it about 3-4 times, and I finally figured out exactly what he was doing, and as you can see, I got it done just fine. So it's just the start that's a little tricky. Other than that, it's really easy. So and then I hardened this with wax in the microwave. So I took some of that wax that I had used to make the ball lube or bore butter or whatever you want to call it, revolver lube, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I took the same wax that I used to make that, and without any of the animal fat in it yet, just the plain wax. Melted it down, and then I brushed it into the inside with a cheap little paintbrush, all the way along, all in the inside. And then I took it, and once I got it coated real well, I put it in the microwave, and I microwaved it within reason. Okay, I didn't just microwave and nuke the crap out of it. I kept an eye on it. I let it cook for a minute or two. I didn't want it to get brittle or burn or cook the leather, so I just let it warm it up enough that the leather would start to soak it up. And it's pretty hard. I mean, this is the only real spot that's soft. If you look back here, it's pretty hard. I'm probably going to do another coat here soon, because that was just the first coat, and it was so firm from the first coat. I really was pretty impressed. So that's how I did that. I just basically made a basic fold over slip style sheath, so to speak, that fits clearly onto Ursula here. And made it so that it fits the gun quite well. And then I just made a slip style holster for it. So this is literally just a piece of leather cut in the shape I want. Again, you can tell right here, you can't notice that when the slip is in there, but it wasn't the prettiest piece of leather, and I just used what I had. So I just put 2 slits because I wanted 2 straps and not one. Not just for structural support, but just because I enjoy that look. And I've got a knife sheath that I made, and I'll do a video with that in here as well. But it kind of follows this pattern. So I made 2 slits so that I could slide it through. I made it so this is cross draw, and that's why it hangs at an angle. Okay, but I made sure I had enough to flap it over, secure it, and then slide the holster in. So let's see if we can do this with one-handed now that we've got it all together. There we go, we're looking better already. It's a good thing these are single action, huh? Just kidding, just kidding. But anyhow, you get the idea. It slides in there. I'm gonna put it back together. There it goes, all back in there, nice and snug, fitting good. Put my thong back on there. Okay, now the gun belt. The gun belt is literally an old tool belt. I'm not kidding you. It's an old tool belt. See that? See that? But you'd never know it when I'm wearing it. Okay. Here is where the original buckles went. This folded over about right there, and it had a bunch of brads in it right there, and the buckle came through right there. And I took the belt loop that was, I don't know, somewhere in this area, and I repurposed it, flipped it around to the back side, because if you're familiar with gun belts, you know that this needs to be on the opposite side so that this other side can slide through into there. Like that. And then when you come and you buckle this portion, the two hold each other together perfectly. That stays snug to you. This keeps everything snug here, and it's such a comfortable fit. This was actually just another piece of belt that I had. It was way too big for me, but it was such a nice belt, and somebody had given it to me, and I love to reuse and repurpose things, so I wasn't just going to throw it away. And lo and behold, I found this tool belt in a shed that I was helping somebody clean out, and they didn't want it, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it, and I did. And it went through a couple retoolings before I got to this, but it came out great. So it's just held together with Chicago screws. I put a longer one through here because it had to go through 1, 2, and 3 pieces of leather, and then I used shorter ones here, and you can buy those for just a couple bucks at Hobby Lobby. And I just cut the edges real nice, you know, so that they had an authentic look, and pointed them, and it just, yeah, fastened 3 Chicago screws on. And I mean, I'm not kidding you, this thing is not, it's not coming apart. I mean, I wear this on a regular basis. It's quite strong. So no stitching needed. You could probably find you an old leather tool belt, maybe from somebody, if you can find one on the marketplace. Or I found a couple options even on Amazon, like one that was it was unstained, no color, whatsoever. It was color free, but it was I believe it was a 3-inch thick, and just full grain piece of leather cut with a buckle, and you could take that and use that no problems, and then go to the thrift store, find you a decent, real, authentic leather belt, and go to Hobby Lobby and get you some Chicago screws and slap it together. Same thing goes for this. Go to Hobby Lobby, buy you a little cheap piece of leather. If you can find somebody that's, a leather worker or whatever, has some scrap pieces, or buy some of those larger scrap pieces at Hobby Lobby if you can get one cheap enough, and make it yourself. I mean, I think I made this holster in a day, and I made this gun belt, and once I decided exactly what I was going to do with it, and I realized that I could just Chicago screw this belt on over the top and make an authentic gun belt out of it, that's what I did, and it took me maybe an hour or two. So both of these took me next to no time. This only took me more time to do with the wax treating, the coloring it black, coloring this brown. But aside from that, actually putting it together and getting it into one piece, I had it done within probably 2 hours. So save your money, guys. Do it yourself, and enjoy your life. I can't say that I appreciate or like this gun belt any less than I would have liked one that I could have spent $150 on. So save your money. Do it yourself. Outlaw 1312 out.